This year in Spain was a duathlon, which is run, bike, run.
Okay.
Last year was a triathlon, which is swim, bike, run. That was good, and I won the World Championship.
So are you the world record holder right now?
Not the record holder, but the world champion until
Okay.
the next race.
Do you have friends your age who can do the same things that you do?
Yeah, I meet them at triathlons.
Okay. So I sort of would be interested in knowing what's your secret. What's been your secret in being able to do this now?
Just getting out. It's my quiet time. If I'm writing and I'm stuck, if I go a run and I've got a writer's block, I'll always come back unblocked. I say, okay, this is what I'm going to do to get around this. This is where the next paragraph's going to be about.
Do you have an e-bike?
No, I'm not old enough.
I like that.
I went a bike ride yesterday.
Yeah.
I crossed where you came, the little village called Burvey,
Yeah.
and up through some Amish farming, horse and buggy farming,
Yeah.
then down the 5th concession. And there's a narrow bridge been there for years, which has become dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's closed. The road was closed. I decided to carry on because on a bike I can usually walk along the shoulder. I got there and the bridge was still there so I could get through, but they'd done a lot of spreading of gravel. And we'd had a thunderstorm in the night. And my shoes sank up into mush and mud came over the top of my shoes. And when I got back on after the bridge, they clip into the pedals. There's clip-in pedals.
Yeah.
Wooden clip.
Yeah.
They're full of mud.
Yeah, they wouldn't
And
clip.
I take them off with a little stick. Spent about 15 minutes cleaning all the muck out so I could carry on riding home.
Damn. And you were doing this yesterday?
Yeah.
On your road bike. You have a road bike, I guess.
Yeah, it's my racing bike.
Your racing
It's
bike.
a good road bike.
Okay. So it is your racing bike. It's what you take all over the world racing.
I took it last month to Spain for the World Duathlon.
So Glen has already started. Glen is telling us that last month he was in Spain for a triathlon, which is beautiful. That's one thing I love about you, Glen. You know.
Well, I wasn't allowed to go on my own. My daughter came with me to supervise me.
Okay. So who didn't allow you to go on your own? Your doctor?
No, my wife. Because I get forgetful and do the wrong things. She said, somebody's got to go with you to make sure you don't screw up.
What would you forget? Would you forget the location of the race?
Oh, I'm not good on cell phones, bookings.
Okay,
So the
I see.
whole arrangements thing.
Yeah.
Getting me there on time.
Which I think is confusing for anybody now with all the technology going on and things on screens and stuff.
I'm not the cell phone generation.
Okay. So that's why you walk around with a, what do you call it? The phone with that dial.
phone.
A roller phone. Glenn walks around with that. I just haven't ever seen it yet. Now, folks, if you're new to this show, this is the Couch Connect. Over here, I hang out with great folks like Glenn, and we talk about the science and art in everyday life experiences. Today's guest is Glen Norcliffe. Glen is a retired, do you call yourself retired or emeritus? Which comes first?
I call myself on pension and not retired.
Okay. Glen is on pension and not retired. He's got a lot of work going, I believe, ever since he got on pension than before he was on pension. Would that be correct to say that?
Yes. I have been working on cycling for 25 years, but I became interested about 5 years ago in one particular subcategory, and that's mobility for people with disabilities. And there's a whole bunch of mobility bikes, adaptive bikes for people with a range of different disabilities.
Yeah.
And every disability is different, so they all have to be adapted to the individual needs.
Yeah, and when you look around, so have you traveled around the world looking at different regions in terms of...
We went there last year to Indonesia
Okay.
as the case study of a country, low-income country, where people cannot afford the fancy, expensive e-bikes that we get in North America
Yeah.
and Western Europe. The big ones, the fancy ones, cost as much as $10,000, which is as much as a small car.
That's a lot of money.
And Indonesians can't afford that, of course.
Definitely. And so what did you find in Indonesia? Is it possible for folks
yes.
there to find a way?
They cope in a very different way. They use recycled materials.
Okay.
They might make up a tricycle for somebody who's paraplegic out of two bicycles welded together. They use scraps, recycled, low-tech welding, and make it as safe as possible at a low price. One of the guys, I've just been writing it out, doesn't necessarily charge the person right away for the payment for the work.
Yeah.
They can pay back as they can afford it over the next 2-3 years.
Yeah. And how much would that be in terms of, I don't know, Canadian dollars or US dollars?
They might come up with a bicycle for a couple of $100.
Okay.
In Indonesian rupiah, it sounds a lot because it might be 2 or 3 million.
Yeah.
But
that's a lot.
It isn't
when you
a
think
lot.
when you think about it, that way in terms of, do you think the people in Indonesia would think of 2-3 million rupiah as a lot of money, or?
Yeah, it is a lot of money if you're a smallholder in
Yeah.
a rural area, farming and selling bits and pieces, and maybe selling little bits and pieces at the market.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to a sponsor of this episode, Olympic Auto Center. Olympic Auto Center has been servicing car enthusiasts and car owners for more than 3 decades, servicing the Twin Cities and the state of Minnesota since the 90s. They have the experience, the passion, and the will to make your ride smooth. If you are in need of towing services, auto repair, or buying a new or used car, reach out to Olympic Auto Center now.
One of the ladies we interviewed, Kumala, amazing lady. She had multiple sclerosis, MS. She was a mother. She had a child, a little boy of about 2 or 3 years old, and she'd had a tricycle made with a sidecar for the little boy.
Yeah.
For her illness, it was important that she try to exercise every day to keep her muscle strength up. She couldn't use her hands very effectively. Her husband had to put the hands on the handlebars.
Yeah.
And she couldn't sign the waiver you have to sign that it was okay to interview her and talk with her and so on.
Yeah.
And I said, should I ask your husband to sign this for you? And she said, no, I'll sign it. She sat down on the floor, picked up a pen with her right foot and signed it with her foot.
Wow.
So that was really revealing about how people adapt and cope with various disabilities.
And then if she were riding her bike, would she, the steering of the bike, would that be on with the legs then?
No, she steered with her hands.
Okay.
It was just controlling the hands to get them on the handlebars. Once they're on the bars,
she
could
fine.
grip them enough to steer and stabilize them.
Okay. Yeah.
And she could use that to go to a little local market and sell things one day a week to make a bit of money.
Yeah.
So the bicycle not only was exercise, it also brought in a little bit of income.
And what got you interested in adaptive bikes, if you'd call them, or, researching on people with disabilities?
Well, I'd been interested, as I said, in bikes for quite a while.
Yeah.
So then backing up, the question is, what got me into bikes?
Okay. Yeah, you could answer that too. So what got you into bikes? Because, we're going to talk about this, but even the room where we are seated, if you can see behind us, there's all sorts of, different bikes across, different generations of bike history. But we'll talk about that, in a moment.
I wasn't a cyclist, I was a runner.
Okay.
When I was at York, and after 15 years, so I was in my mid to late 30s, got the career established, you get tenure. If kids are big enough up, they can look after themselves. I started running and continued to run, found that I could run okay. I guess being tall and thin helps. So I ran, and then in winter I cross-country skied.
Yeah.
And one winter, I was near Toronto. I went down a hill, hit some ice, broke my leg. I split my femur, cracked it up the middle.
Oh.
And so I couldn't run or bike or anything for a while. And Dr. Bull, who was the specialist looking after my broken bones, said after a while, okay, now you can bike and you can swim, but you can't run yet because you'll open up this crack in your bone.
Mm-hmm. And you can't cross-country ski, I guess.
And I couldn't for a while. So I biked and swam. It was the summertime. That went on for a while. And then I got back into running. But I always enjoyed the biking part. The swimming I was never very good at, but I did it. Mm-hmm. And because we're up here in Kincardine in the summers on the lake, there's plenty of opportunity to swim.
Yeah.
So that went on for a long time. I raced a lot, running, got back into running, till I was about 60 when my ankles started becoming very painful. Mm-hmm. So I went to see a sports doctor, and he said the same thing. He said, you can run only if you feel you can, but basically you should stick to biking and swimming. So I did. And after about 3 months, my ankles started getting better. And then I found a regime where I swam, bike, and ran. Mm-hmm. And if I alternated and didn't run that every second day and kept it short, I could do it. And so after a while, I found myself doing triathlons. At this point, I wanted to have some more fun than biking than riding a road bike. And a friend told me that there was a high wheel bike, a penny farthing, for sale at an auction.
Yeah, we're going to put up a picture of a penny farthing. It has a big wheel on the front, as you can see, and a smaller wheel at the back. Yeah. And I learned that penny is from, a bigger penny, in Britain. Had a bigger coin, and then a farthing is the smaller size, and that's why they call it a penny farthing. So it's a very, I don't know, would you call that creative? I don't know.
It's illustrative, anyhow, of the scale.
So you found a guy who gave you a penny farthing.
So I bought it at an auction, fixed it up, and started riding it. It was fun and different, and started going to meets of all bikes. And then
what year is this? What year is this?
1992, 3, 4, somewhere around there.
Penny farthings at this point are like, 100 years old?
Oh, over 100, 120 years old.
So the bike you had was probably also that old, like 100 years old, you'd say? Okay.
These are all, these high wheel bikes are all from the 1870s and 80s.
So the bike that you had, is it over here? The penny farthing that you rode?
No, it was a bit small for me.
Okay.
I eventually sold it. By then I had bought 2 or 3 others and other bikes that were interesting. And so I got into a bad habit of buying bikes and taking them home. And my wife got cross because the basement got more and more bikes in it.
Yeah,
and filled
more old bikes.
Old bikes. And then one day she said, Glenn, I can't get to my washing machine anymore for your bicycles. You're going to have to do the laundry from now on.
Yeah.
So that called for an emergency solution. And I built this shed to get the bikes out of the way.
Okay.
To get me off the hook of having to do the laundry. So we ended up with a bike shed with all my bikes in it in this little museum.
Yeah, so you were telling me the story of how, you now got into the penny farthing.
We've got 2 stories running here.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I was running a bike and swimming and realized that I was really doing a triathlon.
Yeah.
So I did the odd one. I've done a triathlon with the penny farthing for the bike section.
I want to take this opportunity to give a shout out to a sponsor of this episode, Candy Home Survey Realty. If you want to buy a property, whether it's a property for you to live in or a commercial property for you to invest in, reach out to Candy. Candy Home Survey Realty has made it possible for multiple lives to be transformed. If you want to transform your life today and move to one of the coolest provinces in Canada, reach out to Candy Home Survey.
And I've done a triathlon with the penny farthing for the bike section.
Everybody else had like a normal racing bike,
Yes.
and you had a penny farthing.
I had a penny farthing, and I wasn't last. I think, it was next to last.
I would
but
expect you to
wasn't.
come in last because, I mean, all the newer technologies and the newer bikes.
Well, I don't know, but I wasn't quite last. I was nearly last.
Can you tell me, how would you, or how do you get on a penny farthing when you're riding?
There's at the back wheel on the right, on the left, there's a little step. And you put your left foot on that step, and you kick it along, and it picks up momentum very quickly because it's a solid tire, so it's quite a heavy, big wheel.
Yeah.
So once you got that momentum, you get up into the seat and quickly find the pedals, and away you go. It stabilizes at a very low speed because of the weight in that big wheel.
Yeah. I'm going to put a photo up, I mean, so that people can see when you are explaining this. Yeah. And so you were in a triathlon race and you didn't come last? With the
So
penny
I
farthing.
didn't come last with the penny farthing. Then I got a better bike.
Yeah.
Then I got an even better bike. And then about 3 years ago, I decided at my age, what the heck, let's get a really good bike. So I got a carbon fiber bike, a Scott with electronic gear change in the works. It cost a bundle. I haven't told Mary how much I paid for it.
I don't know. Do you think Mary's going to watch this podcast?
Possibly, yes.
So you don't want to reveal it here either?
No, but it was a deal.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, I would also love that for you. But, you said something 3 years ago. So I met you 3 years ago. You probably remember or don't remember. But we were out cross-country skiing up in
Huntsville.
So you remember then.
Yes.
Yeah, and we met there, and it was you were turning 80. And that was amazing because you were right there and you were beating me. You were going faster than me on the trail, mostly because I wasn't a good skier, but also because...
Yeah, and I've been practicing for years.
Yeah. And so we are sitting there and we are celebrating your birthday, and I'm like, so I don't want to ask out loud. So I'm like, how old is he turning? And so you made it even easier. You didn't, I didn't have to hear it from everybody. You said, I'm going to be racing my friends out in Kincardine, and we are going to race 8 hectometers is what you called it?
Oh yeah, it was my 80th birthday race.
Yeah. And how long did they race you?
80 hectometers is
80
8 kilometers.
Yes.
So it was 8K race. 1 hectometer for each year of my life was the idea.
How many people did you beat in the race?
I ended about in the middle.
Okay, so a good number.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's amazing for me because I think that sets you apart. I mean, you're still going racing. You were just in Spain a month ago, on a triathlon race. And I think you explained it to me that there are different age categories, and that way you don't compete against younger, stronger
obviously,
folk.
I can't beat young people. But in the 80 to 84 age group, there are fewer runners, so it's easier to do well. Fewer competitors. And actually, this year in Spain was a duathlon, which is run, bike, run.
Okay.
Last year was a triathlon, which is swim, bike, run.
And that was in Spain still?
That was both of them were in Spain,
Okay.
different places in Spain. Last year it was in, what the heck's the name? Malaga.
Yeah.
And that was good. And I won in the World Championship.
So are you the world record holder right now?
Not the record holder, but the world champion until the next race, which is in Australia. And I'm not going to Australia. It's too far a flight for me.
Yeah, do you think you're gonna want to claim that championship in any future race, probably that goes elsewhere away from Australia?
Do.
Okay.
When I turn 85, we'll see. But the problem when you're in your 80s is that you're going downhill rapidly. You're
Is that what you
slowing
feel?
down.
Okay. Is that what you feel, or is that a fact?
It's inevitable.
Okay.
That point, your body is beginning to age rapidly.
I mean, I would line up a couple of 80 years old, my grandfather included, put up a picture of my grandfather. And you would see a big difference between you and many 80-year-olds. And I'm saying this to mean that you are very strong and very athletic, very energetic. I mean, I came in this morning and you were mowing your lawn and you're doing all this sort of stuff, and I think you put up something amazing here. So when you say that there's a pretty drastic decline, I tend not to believe you, because you seem to be proving your statement otherwise.
No, I can tell from my times.
Okay.
When I run a 5K race, almost each race I'm about 30 seconds slower. At 40, you can train and improve. At 80, you can't train and improve. You can try and stay on a plateau.
Yeah.
But at my age, you ask other 80-year-olds, you train to avoid injury. I mean, if I push it hard, I'm going to pull something, tear something, and be off for a month.
And how do you train?
Cross training.
Okay.
I do something different every day.
Okay.
In winter, it's swimming in the pool, indoors, running. I can run most days in winter. I draw the line at -10.
Okay. Running outside.
Running outside. I don't like running inside. Occasionally I do at York, but very occasionally. And I can even occasionally go out on my trail bike in winter.
Okay.
And I cross-country ski and snowshoe. So there's a bunch of different winter sports. At this time of year, a couple of days ago, I went to kayak, I went to paddleboard, I went to swim, I gardened. Gardening is an exercise. You're digging the garden and raking.
Yeah, beautiful exercise. I do that all the time also, gardening.
Yeah.
Wow.
So cross-training is the trick. So you're using different muscle sets
Yeah.
all the time.
Talking about muscle sets, I remember in one of my previous chats with you, you told me that there's a very specific set of exercises or a very specific set of sports that will involve all the muscles of the body.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that also when you were on CBC some time back. What are those muscles?
Well,
Sorry, what are those sports?
Rowing, in an 8 or whatever,
Yeah.
because you're using your arms, your torso, and your legs, kicking.
Yeah.
Because you're on a seat that rolls. Swimming uses your whole body. Cross-country skiing uses your whole body because you're pushing with your arms and legs.
Yeah.
I think there's another one. I can't remember what the heck was the other one. Anyhow, there are several sports where you use your whole body.
So you don't row at all, do you? Rowing, do you do that at all? Or just kayaking?
I haven't rowed in years.
Okay.
I rowed at Cambridge.
Okay.
And in a gentleman's boat, which means the exact opposite of what you think.
So what does it mean?
We could carry on drinking and smoking if we wanted to.
Okay.
Not that I smoke, but anyhow. Whereas the serious boats, they had to go on a strict regime, no smoking and drinking, till their races were over. So, yeah.
So you were rowing?
Yeah.
Okay. And you went to Cambridge?
Yeah.
That's where you got your PhD?
No, I got my first degree at Cambridge.
Okay.
Then I came to the University of Toronto and did a master's. And then I did a PhD at Bristol in England.
Okay. Why wouldn't you go on in Cambridge? Were you just looking to explore Canada?
Well, yeah, I felt it was good. Back then, it was considered not a good idea to do your degrees at one university. So it meant going somewhere else. A friend had come to the University of Toronto and said it was good. He enjoyed it, so I followed him and did a master's degree. Met Mary, got married, went back to England as a married man. And when I came back to Canada, I came back as a father. Our daughter was born just before we came back.
I have a theory. I think you went to England with Mary, and Mary didn't like the weather in England because it's so gloomy. And and now I know why you came back to Canada.
Possibly. The winters are long, but the summers are good. I mean, we've had a good summer this year.
Yeah. Don't you feel like it's been too hot? Most of my friends have been telling me that it's been very hot.
You'll see why when we go to living on the edge of the lake. There's nearly always on a hot day a cool off-lake breeze.
Yes. Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, you told me here that you were keeping all these bikes in your basement. Once you got into the habit of collecting bikes, old bikes, using your exact words, and then you decided to because did you decide to get a shed because you didn't want to do the laundry? Can I
Yes.
can I assume
Well,
that?
I had to do something, or I had to get rid of some bikes,
Okay.
which I was reluctant to do at that point.
And so you built the shed.
So I looked for a shed, couldn't find one. And a realtor I bumped into, he said, there's a property with a long, deep lot. Build your own shed to your own specs. And in the end, I did it. So with local people, friends and help, got a guy to pour the concrete basement. We did a lot of the rest.
Yeah.
Retirees around town. And we did it. It's insulated, it's heated, it's got a dehumidifier. It's just about big enough. I mean, it could be bigger now, but this is the biggest size you can build without having to get some special permits.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So it's a sort of square inch.
So you went right to the edge,
Yes.
right? Right to you pushed that as far as you could.
I think we were allowed up to 15 feet, so the
In
peak
height.
is 15 feet.
Okay.
So we were at the limits that were allowed.
Okay. You're not sure it's not like 15.2 or something?
I think we're right on the mark.
Yeah, beautiful. So I recorded a short video here of what is going on inside here. So Glenn can probably, tell you what's going on in here, but we got a bunch of bikes. I think they got these old bikes. They call them walking machines,
Yeah.
which I learned a few days ago when I was doing research for this episode that the walking machines were the oldest bikes they had. I call them kiddie bikes now because most of the kiddie bikes, or the very initial bike that kids go on, my daughter's doing that, they are walking bikes.
Yes.
And the walking machine seems to have been the oldest, bicycle that there ever was invented.
Yeah.
And then, so what's going on in here?
Well, it's the story of the technological development of the bicycle.
Okay.
And I've organized it in 7 stages, beginning with the German name is Laufmaschine, or walking machine, walking bike, or running machine, or the term I like, striding bike, because you stride out. You can take a long stride, but you have to balance it as you walk along. They actually go quite well, because you can roll, so you can go faster than you can walk.
Yeah.
It's more like a sort of trot pace.
You just can go uphill, I guess.
It's very slow uphill. Downhill, you can put your feet up and just roll away.
Do they have brakes?
No.
Okay.
Well, some of them did, but most of them don't have brakes. You put your feet down. So once we did a ride, a group of us, 13 of us, did a ride from Nancy in France to Karlsruhe in Germany, which is the birthplace of the inventor of this velocipede, or Laufmaschine. His name was Baron von Drais. So the other name for the machine is the Dreisienne, named for Drais.
Yeah.
So we did 240 kilometers on these bikes over 6 days. So we're doing about 50 kilometers a day or 30 miles.
What time are you starting?
We didn't start very early
Okay.
because every night we were in France having a rather good dinner with a certain amount of wine.
Yeah.
So we didn't make early starts. We always said we would, but we never quite managed to do it. But we'd trundle along through the day, stop for lunch. But it's equivalent to doing about a marathon a day. We can do a marathon in about 3 hours.
Yeah.
So with breaks and rest breaks and so on, it was about 4 or 5 hours walking. It wasn't too much.
Do you think you go faster on a loft machine as opposed to running?
Depends how.
Let's say you are a marathoner, you can do a marathon in 3 hours.
Your Kenyan runners, marathon runners can
Okay.
run a marathon in 2 hours. On a Lauf machine, you'd be pushed to do it in 2 hours.
Okay. So
we were
4
doing
hours.
3 or 4 hours.
Okay, thereabout. All right.
So that's the Lauf machine.
And so so that's the fast action. Your fast action is the loft machine.
Yeah.
And then you have
Next one is these velocipedes, or the English word is bone shaker.
Okay.
You've got to remember that the wheel doesn't have a tire on it, or it does, it's a steel tire.
Yeah.
So it's a hard, unforgiving tire. The forgivingness was the roads, they were dirt, so they absorbed a certain amount of the shock.
And the rims or the rims and the spokes are made of wood.
The velocipede or bone shaker had a wooden wheel.
Yeah.
The difference between them and the Laugh Machine is that they had a pedal and a crank. And why didn't we come up with a cranked bicycle 50 years earlier? Because the gap was nearly 50 years. And people say, well, nobody ever thought of it. But they must have, because there were machines around in factories that used cranks. And the accepted explanation now is the belief that you couldn't balance on two wheels unless you could put your feet on the ground to steady yourself.
Yeah, and that's why they thought that the Laugh Machine was a better idea, because you can put your feet on the ground, balance
you
yourself.
can put your feet. Well, somebody in front, there's a big dispute about the actual breakthrough, but somebody worked out that you could balance and pedal
at the same time.
And that was the beginning of cycling as we know it today, where your feet are off the ground on pedals. And once that was done, the pedal bike caught on. Well, now, 100 years later, we found we can ride on one wheel, a unicycle.
Yeah.
And I can do it. I used to do it. I haven't tried it in years. But I could do it. I did it down the Black Creek Valley at York University.
I'm just listening to you. I keep learning something new about you every time we hang out together. So you used to unicycle. I don't know, do they call it unicycling? Or you used to cycle on a unicycle?
Yeah. But I wasn't very good. But there's some people who played hockey on unicycles.
Okay. But I'm just going to say this. It doesn't matter, Glenn, when you tell me that you weren't very good. The point is you were on a unicycle. You are better than 99% of the globe, I'd say.
Well, 99%, I think, could learn a unicycle if they stuck at it. It's just a matter of trying until you get the hang of it. There is a trick, which is letting all your weight go onto the saddle.
Which is very hard to fathom in the mind that,
It's the opposite of what you're inclined to do, which is put your weight on the pedals. You don't. You put your weight on
the saddle.
On the seat.
But if you put your weight, my imagination, I put my weight on the seat, and then the seat is going to fall back.
Well,
or fall to the front.
It could go sideways too. You learn to wiggle yourself around. It takes a while.
All right. Yeah. So then after the velocipede, so that's how you were also arranged the museum in such a way that you first have, when you walk into the museum, you're first going to see the Laugh Machine and then the bone shaker.
Yes.
Okay. And then so after the bone shaker, I guess you were telling me earlier that they realized that you could have a metal. Well,
yeah. The problem with the bone shaker with the wooden wheel and wooden spokes is that the bigger the wheel, the wobblier it gets. It's unstable. But the bigger the wheel, the faster you can go, because one rotation of the pedal takes you further. The bigger the wheel, its circumference is bigger. And it was a Frenchman called Mayer who worked out you could make a wheel with spokes and make it triangulate the spokes on the hub so that it's a stable wheel and it's bigger. And because these guys raced like crazy, particularly in Paris, in the Bois de Boulogne, the guy with the biggest wheel usually won the race. Well, Mayer, with his spoked wheel, won as soon as he appeared. He won the next race. And everybody wanted to copy him, of course. And so, within weeks, everybody was riding spoked, steel-spoked wire wheels.
Yeah.
They called it the spider wheel. But there's a fundamental, you're a physicist, there's a fundamental difference. The spider wheel is a tension wheel. The spokes are tensed, one end or the other, to tense it. The velocipede has an iron tie around it. It's a compression wheel. It's not a tension wheel. It's compressed. And the way the iron tie is put on it is it's heated up red hot. So it expands.
It can expand.
Put over the wood, and water is thrown on it to shrink it onto the wood. So that's compressed onto the wheel.
Yeah.
So it's fundamentally different physics between the two wheels. And so the penny farthing or high wheel or ordinary bicycle is the correct term, was born, very quickly adopted, and within a while everybody was riding it.
It's very interesting. We call it the ordinary bicycle because there's nothing ordinary about it. If you look at this picture, we're putting up a picture of the penny farthing, and you can't see anything ordinary about it because it is the front wheel is as tall as me, and so.
Well, the biggest wheels I've seen are 60 inches, which is 5 foot.
Yeah.
So they're pretty big and scary because when you're riding it, you're high up.
Yeah, earlier you were telling me the sort of accidents that used to happen on this because later on they were braked and they had this a brake that was over the rubber tire, and so if you break the front wheel, then it throws you over. Is what you told me.
Well, your riding position is pretty well close to the center of gravity, so it doesn't need much hard braking, and you'll flip and go forward, but your legs are trapped behind the handlebars.
Yeah.
So you have to put your hands out, and there's a good chance you'll break your wrists if you do that, or you'll smash your face into the ground and get bicycle face, it's called.
Oh, bicycle face is so the guy was thrown on the ground by a bicycle.
Yeah,
it's
you
got a
may
bicycle
be missing
face.
the odd tooth and thing. So these were pretty dangerous machines, and they were mostly ridden by the sort of people who today young people riding mountain bikes down mountains and things like that.
So you can imagine the adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
They're always looking for that, extra thrill.
Yes.
Okay.
Extra
And that's why you would easily get the bicycle faces then.
Yeah, you could if you weren't careful. On modern roads where there's fewer bumps, fewer stumps, and fewer things to flip over, it's a bit safer. But you can still do it. I mean, I've come off, luckily, onto grass and so on, and didn't hurt myself. But I've seen friends who've broken their wrists, even recently, in the last 20 years. So that was the ordinary bike, the high wheeler. And after about 10, 15 years, there were enough accidents and a few people killed that people looked for alternative, safer bikes. And they are called high wheel safeties. So they're still big wheels, but there are different ways of making them safer. So you could shrink the size of the wheel by gearing it up.
Okay.
Or you could put the little wheel at the front in the American Star. There are various designs here that you can see that try to make it safer.
I don't know how putting up, you explained to me the physics behind it. If you put up a bigger wheel at the back, is that, if you're coming down, then you can essentially put your legs down because, if you are freewheeling, then, the front comes up and...
If you hit a bump and the front comes up, then almost automatically your feet are down near the ground.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is
Just
get off
stand.
the back.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not going too fast, just hold it. And if you're going too fast, the bike will roll away without you.
But all in all, I think, the ordinary bike was, I think, the most dangerous bike that was ever created, in my opinion.
Possibly.
And this ordinary safety is still equally dangerous.
But the most dangerous rider are the mountain bikers.
Okay.
One of the people working, she lives in Austria. Hannah races mountain bikes in Austria down mountains, and she broke her wrists recently. So mountain bikers going down and over rocks and jumps and goodness knows what take pretty high risks consciously.
Yeah.
The bikes are very safe, but the riders aren't. It's the opposite to the high wheeler.
Yeah, I've tried it a couple of times. Well, not on the rock-faced cliffs, but, over generally rough terrain.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it at all. I got a what do you call it, a full suspension with a suspension in the front and the back. And that made it safer for me to ride and more comfortable to ride. People with hard tails, I think they complain that with the hard tail, you sort of absorb most of the shock. And I think that with the full suspension, most of the shock is absorbed and then you can ride smoother.
I ride a hardtail when I do trail rides.
How is that for you?
It's fine. And I can do moderate hills, but I don't do anything risky.
Well,
Not
I
very risky.
avoid risky stuff ever since I became a father. And we're talking about how folks who were riding the ordinary bikes, the moment they got married and became parents, I guess they stopped riding ordinary bikes anymore.
They became drinking members of the clubs rather than riding members, because they were elite bike clubs. I mean, it was a year's salary to buy a high wheeler for an ordinary man.
Oh.
So this was a rich man's sport,
Yeah.
like driving a racing car today is.
And right here you got what, 6, 7 racing cars. Essentially you got
Yeah.
7 years of income from somebody hanging out in your
Well,
museum.
these were very much sport riding. The Montreal Bike Club, which I wrote an article on once, the members were very much the Anglo elite.
Yeah.
There was one French Canadian who was a member, but he was a good racer, and they wanted him to race for the club, win races in competitions with other clubs. And there were 2 or 3 Jewish members, and again, they were wealthy people who could sponsor things.
Yeah.
So, but it was very much an elite Anglo club in Montreal in the 1880s.
Yeah, and I see how that becomes possible because, not everyone, if you are a working man, there's no way you are going to be risking your life also running around with your bicycle. I see why, wealthier people would probably want to try or, get thrills of this sort of, activities.
It changed in manufacturing technology in the 1890s. Stamping and pressing technology made it possible to stamp and press out bikes, tubes, and we got the modern safety bike appearing.
Yeah.
With the diamond frame is the term used. It's basically a bunch of triangles and diamonds.
Yeah.
At first, the safety bike had hard tires. Dunlop had patented the inflatable tire in 1888.
Yeah.
But for the first few years, they were totally unreliable. You go a mile and you got a puncture. The valves leaked. So it was about 5 years of safety bikes where they were still using hard tires, solid tires, or what they called cushion tires, which is so hard, spongy stuff.
It's kind of like a softer rubber. Yeah.
And then the pneumatics came in, and there was a year where it was a 3-way split, about 1892. By 93, the pneumatic tires were getting more reliable.
Okay.
By 95, everyone was using pneumatic tires. You carried a puncture outfit with you. But by 95, the price of bicycles had come down dramatically.
Yeah.
At first, they were as expensive. Safety bikes were as expensive as high-wheel bikes. Then they became much cheaper, and the working man could afford it. And then it became an ordinary man's machine.
Yeah.
Just as the car was appearing. So the wealthy people moved on to the early automobiles.
Well,
And there's that picture I showed you.
yeah, we're
an
going to put
early
a picture of
car.
that. Yeah.
And Grandpa is riding a tricycle. But the son is
In the car.
in the car because that was the status vehicle. And what happened then, and you up on the wall there is an example or two, the big makers there's a boom in bicycling because everybody wanted a bike. It's like e-bikes at the moment. Everybody wants
one.
There's an
Apart from
e-bike
me,
craze.
do you have an e-bike?
No, I'm not old enough.
I like that.
And so the big makers got all the bicycle tubing because the frame was made out of tubes. Small makers couldn't get the tubing. There was a tube famine, they called it.
Yeah.
So they used other materials. So here in Canada, you start getting wooden bikes. And in the United States, there's a hickory bike, and I've got a wooden bike made down at Thorold near Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
And in some cases, in India, they were using bamboo bicycles. Bamboo bikes became an alternative to tubing.
Yeah.
They've remained as a, quote, ecological alternative. Bamboo bikes keep making comebacks. They're still making them in Indonesia. They're kind of whippy and flexible.
Yeah.
But
they get the job done.
but they're cheap material. I mean,
What's the wheel made out of?
it's a modern wheel.
Okay, it's just
So
a
it's
just a
the
frame which
is
is
bamboo.
made of bamboo. Okay.
So it's if you look closely at it, it's not quite as ecological as you might think.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it's an attempt at doing something.
And also, it guess makes it affordable for the local population, would you say?
It certainly makes it more affordable, yeah. So they're made in various places, but there's 2 or 3 bamboo bikers one in Bali I visited, and I think a couple of others in Java.
Yeah, and I guess after your hard tire safety, the next category that you have here in the museum is the, did I see that? I think the pneumatic
The
safety.
fixed wheel is the fixed wheel. There's pneumatic. I've got an example of a tandem pneumatic. That's for 2 people.
Yeah, where it's steered and sort of controlled from the back. You power it from the back.
It's the original backseat driver. The man, back then it was considered rude for a man
To ride up front.
to show his back to a woman. And in fact, until recently, if you ever visited Queen Elizabeth II, she held an audience with cabinet minister or somebody like that. They were supposed to walk out backwards.
Interesting. Well, I never visited
That's a
her
hangover from that Victorian
era.
politesse, if you like, politeness. So the man had to sit at the back, the lady at the front. They were called lady front bikes.
Yeah.
The man was the source of energy, if you like.
The man is the one who's running the bike basically.
But yes. And it was also, though, the pilot. He was steering it from the back.
Yeah, and I like the mechanism they have over there. We're probably going to put it up. The mechanism they have over there where you can be able to steer from the back. I think that's really cool technology that they had over there.
And the same applies to the tricycle, which we didn't look at beneath it, which is from 1884. The man sat at the back, but both of them shared the steering again. So he could steer from the back. Still the same principle that the lady sat at the front.
Yeah. I mean, just to give a little bit of critique here, if you're sitting at the back, if you're steering from the back, I mean, and there's this whole opaque human in front of you, you can't see where you're going. So you probably have to ride off to the side, which, I don't know.
It's a little
unsafe.
bit of that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the interesting things about disability tandems, is that nowadays the tandem, the lady, if there's a lady or the disabled person at the front, is recumbent, and the pilot at the back is higher up, so he can see over the passenger at the front.
Which makes it easier, I guess, to navigate, since you can see.
Easy to navigate, and it makes the bike more accessible, because the pilot at the front can get from a wheelchair, for instance, at the same height as their wheelchair. They don't have to be lifted in, they can slide across. The front wheel is a smaller wheel, which lowers the whole front end of the bike. So that's an adaptation to make a bicycle more accessible for a disabled person.
Yeah, and I guess after the pneumatic tire, sort of the era of your museum or the era that you are looking at ends sort of at the invention of the pneumatic tire. Do you go?
No, it goes further than that. The earlier ones were fixed wheel. It meant you never stopped pedaling.
Yeah.
Or if you did, you had to lift your feet up off the pedals because they went around all the time.
Yeah.
Then we get the free wheel, which is a ratchet device. And you could free wheel, so you could pedal and then just rest.
Stop pedaling, yeah.
Pedaling. Then we get into some of the strange bikes. Up at the top over there is a shaft drive. That's a lady's bike that doesn't have a chain, because in the 1890s, 95, ladies were wearing long skirts that would get caught up in the chain.
Their chain, yeah.
But with a shaft, there's no chain to get caught up in.
So you just got to lubricate the shaft. And
you have a skirt guard around a mud guard.
Around the tire.
Yeah. So that the skirt doesn't get into the wheel either. The one below it is, we're getting into gearing there.
Yeah.
That's a bike, it's a French bike from the 1920s, and you rode it normally along the flat. But when you get to a hill, you want a lower gear. You pedal backwards up the hill, and you've got a ratchet in two ratchets, two chain wheels, and they work in the opposite direction.
So the going downhill is frontwards, or on flat
Yeah.
ground, and then going uphill, back pedal,
Pedal backwards, a strange phenomenon.
which
First
probably
time you do it.
lower gear.
It's a lower gear.
Yeah.
So it gets you up the hill. So, and it's the beginning of the idea of that then is not far from that to the modern derailleur gear.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of actually taking a chain off the chain wheel
Yeah, and putting it on another.
with a tensor to keep it tense. Otherwise, it would flop on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know if you know the gentleman who brought the derailleur to Canada. I once, in my research, I met this gentleman out of New Hampshire. His name is John. And John told me that his uncle was the Frenchman who brought derailleurs to Canada.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I forget his uncle's name, but we had a chat about it about 3-4 years ago.
I forget my history of derailleur gears. Huret, H-U-R-E-T, was one of the earliest.
Mm-hmm.
It was a French idea, and I think it was used on the earlier Tour de France. And it caught on fairly quickly. The earlier chain derailleur arrangements, you had to actually lean down by hand and shift it over.
Yeah.
It was a device that flipped it across. But nowadays it's electronic and
That's what you got. Interesting enough, I have a cousin who's very much into road biking and racing as well. And he's also got this sort of, fancy bikes like you do. And I'm really fascinated with the sort of technology that has advanced over here. But one thing that I never understand is he told me that you call the shoes or the pedals, is it one of them, clipless pedals, and yet you clip on them. I didn't quite understand that. I mean, it is very strange.
I call mine clip-ons.
Okay.
And my bike shoes that I filled up with mud the other day, I've got a metal thing underneath it that snaps in. And you hear it go click and you're in.
Yes.
And when you're in, you can then lift your foot up and the pedal comes with it.
Yeah.
So you can chase the pedal and put energy into it all the way around, rather than just on the down push.
On the down push. And so you have the same thing. I guess you probably different ways you call it. You call it a clip-on, you call it a clipless, which I found to be, quite, I don't know, interesting if I would call it that. But so earlier on, would you say that we've finished the tour of the museum at that point?
Pretty well. The last bike over there has got a steering wheel.
I saw the steering wheel. Why would you have a steering wheel on a bike?
Well, it was just an experimental bike, really. In the 1930s, the Great Depression, the bike makers wanted to creating jobs for anyone. So they started experimenting. There are two things over there that are from the 1930s. One is the steering wheel bike, the Triumph Moller, which wasn't very successful. It's a semi-recumbent. So the saddle's got a thing at the back to stop you going off the back of the bike, landing on your bum. The other one is a scooter.
Yeah.
An Ingo, short for Ingersoll, which was a maker of brakes and things for cars. And it's a scooter with the rear wheel, if you look at it, the hub isn't in the middle. It's eccentrically spoked. So one side's got short spokes, the other side's got long spokes. And if you get the rhythm of that and unweight, in which you go up and down like on a horse.
That's what I was going to say. Initially, I thought that they have it, that arrangement is sort of on a cam or something that probably keeps you level.
Yeah.
And then I realized you can't keep someone level that way. You got to be going up and down like a horse.
You've got to go up and down. And that's the trick. If you weight and unweight, and then you can go even faster.
You propel yourself that way.
Because the thing you stand on is not a piece of steel, it's a spring. It's spring steel.
Yeah.
And if you pull the handlebars towards you at the right moment, you get a flick effect.
Yeah.
And to promote it, Ingersoll, got a newly married couple to ride from Chicago to Florida as a promotion for free bikes. they gave him free Ingo bikes in return for riding for the
That must have
honeymoon.
been like, I don't know what,
Well,
two
I
and
think-
a half a year journey or something.
I think they were divorced long before they got to Florida. It's just a crazy thing to do.
Because maybe one of the partners was very interested in getting the,
They wanted
freebies.
publicity.
Yeah.
It's the usual story. Anything for publicity. Anyhow, that was the Ingo bike, and it was moderately successful. There were quite a few of them still around, and the idea has come back. In the last 10 years, I've seen
Of scooters
eccentrically
or?
spoked scooters
Oh, okay.
that you can stand on and bounce along. Basically, you bounce along.
While I hate electric bikes, I once owned an electric scooter a couple of years ago. And I used to, use that to move around the university campus. And so once I was on a street, I was driving down a street, and then I was gonna turn, and then out of nowhere, an electric scooter came, and it was pretty fast. I was like, man, I was gonna hit that guy if I wasn't, at least careful, and I can see how someone got into an accident that way. Yeah. And since that day, I stopped riding my scooter. I donated to a friend of mine, and the city of Toronto actually has a bylaw against the scooters on the streets of Toronto, but I see everybody on a scooter now in the city of Toronto.
Yeah, and in London has some scary scooters riding down the bike lanes.
Is that London, Ontario, or London, the
London,
UK?
England.
Yeah.
Paris has banned them. There are two types of e-bikes, it's worth stressing. There's the throttle bike they use in China. It doesn't have pedals.
Yeah.
It's just an electric motorbike, but it's a small battery. If they've got a control that limits them to 15 kilometers an hour, they're reasonably safe.
Yeah.
But some of those will do 40, 50 clicks,
Yep.
and they're dangerous.
Yeah, even when you're going down a road as a rider, it's dangerous if you get into a pothole with a
Yeah.
stick on the street or something.
But I actually like and approve of e-bikes with pedals where you got e-assist. A lot of older people who wouldn't be biking if there wasn't an e-assist.
Yeah.
They go out and they use the e-assist at low level with a bit of pedaling.
Yeah.
They come to a hill, they turn the e-assist up, but they're getting out and exercising, which they wouldn't do if they didn't have the e-assist bike.
Yeah. Would you call an electric bike the one with pedals, an adaptive device then for older people?
Yes. I mean, if you look at the data from the UN, about half the disabled people are old people
Yeah.
who are simply
And disability
losing
here
their
is-
balance. They're disabled
Yeah.
in the sense their balance isn't good. They're not so strong, they can't run, they're wobbly, and therefore considered disabled. But most people wouldn't, they just say they're old. But in fact, I mean, I have a disability problem. I fall over if I stand on one leg.
Yeah.
My balance isn't good.
I
as
don't know.
it used to be.
I don't know. I don't know if that qualifies, Glenn. You might be pushing it over there, but anyways, I will take it.
When I do yoga, I always stand by the wall because I can't do the stand on one leg more than about 5 seconds.
Yeah, but which you are probably doing better than most of the people your age. I was even wondering, a few days ago when I was gonna come up here, I was wondering, do you have friends your age who can do the same things that you do?
Yeah, I meet them at triathlons.
Okay. So the distant friends who live, far away and stuff like
There's
that.
a guy older than me in town who still cross-country skis,
Okay.
and he rides a tricycle, e-tricycle. So he's pedaling, but he's getting pedal e-assist.
Yeah.
And he's 85, 86, and he cross-country skis still.
Do you ever get this sort of question? And does it ever make you, feel uncomfortable? I don't know. Asking you this sort of question sort of makes me uncomfortable because I'm like, maybe he doesn't feel okay answering this sort of questions, about, I probably come off as ageist or something like that.
No, it's just, I encourage other people to keep going.
And so then I was going to ask, I think anybody who's my age right now would, like me, hope to still be active, at your age and be okay and, travel the world, but also get to enjoy the things that they do while they are mobile and very active. So I sort of would be interested in knowing what's your secret. What's been your secret in being able to do this now?
Just getting out. It's my quiet time. If I'm writing and I'm stuck, if I go a run and I've got a writer's block, I'll always come back unblocked. I'll say, okay, this is what I'm going to do to get around this. This is where the next paragraphs are going to be about.
I once met this guy and he told me that every important decision that is made, he made it while out on a walk. And so what he did is every day went on for a 10-kilometer walk, or is it a 2-hour walk, one of the two.
Yeah.
And so I sort of borrowed that idea and I'm trying to do the same. I'm not sure I'm making very great decisions though, but hopefully I will. Do you think that is something helpful that anybody could do and maybe be able to get ahead of some of the problems that come with being immobile most of the time?
Especially if you've got a desk job, which a lot of us have these days.
Yeah.
Around a university, you're sitting there writing, preparing lectures, and so on. And you need to get out. And one of the interesting things you'll find at triathlons is that the age groups above 40 are the most populated. And it's because people have had their family and the kids are now 10, 12, 14 years old, they're teenagers. You can leave them for an hour or two while you go for a bike ride or a run, or go to the gym or whatever. So the most competitive groups, the people who've got the time to train and start caring about being fit. When you're 25, you think you're going to live forever.
Yeah. When you're 30, probably you have young kids and they're
tied down more.
Tied down,
and you're
even
trying
with
to
work.
establish your career.
Yeah.
So you're busy scribbling away and preparing lectures and all the rest of it. And by the time you're 40, you've got most of your lecture courses in place and you just update them. And you've got your career established, so you don't feel obliged to publish 5 articles a year or whatever.
And how about eating? What's your diet like? What do you say? And I'm only asking this, because I'm thinking that maybe it has to do with diet or something. There's something that you eat that the rest of us
The
aren't.
joke is that I'm on a seafood diet.
Okay.
If I see food, I eat it. But no, really,
Okay.
I am now fairly careful about what I eat and have been for the last few years. Well, I don't have to be careful because Mary makes sure. She makes me eat a lot of fruit. I do try to persuade her to give me less carbs. I eat rice if I can, in preference to a big pile of potatoes.
Yeah.
I avoid French fries as much as possible. So I avoid fried food, mostly. And the odd time, it doesn't matter. I am not teetotal, but I don't drink in daytime. If something special's on, I'll have a 0 beer at lunchtime. But otherwise, I like a glass of wine with dinner at night. So I'm not alcohol free, but I'm not a heavy drinker.
Yeah.
I never drink in the evening. It's just with a meal in the evening.
And do you think that there's some sort of, I don't know, anything genetic going on here? Would you say that?
Possibly. I mean, obviously genetically in the sense that I'm tall and skinny. My older brother died about 2 months ago. He was shorter than me and much heavier, and he liked chocolate and cake and pie and was diabetic. And my younger sister is similarly diabetic and overweight. Part of that is just genetics, part of it is diet. Both my brother and sister, if they'd been strict on their diet, could have taken off quite a bit of weight, I'm sure.
My condolences about your brother.
He'd got advanced dementia, so his life had become not very meaningful.
I as we were talking here earlier, I said that I'm thankful for the modern technologies that we have and the fact that medical technology has made it possible for you and I to probably live longer than our ancestors would ever, think of.
Yeah.
And I think it is something encouraging. But what do you say about the fact that would you encourage people to often visit doctors? Because I was listening to a podcast by this guy, and he was telling me, he was saying that most men don't visit doctors unless they are sick. If they are okay, they don't see doctors for general preventive stuff.
Well, two things here. Visiting doctors. I have a monthly annual checkup. Because of my cancer, they have seen me every 6 months just to make sure they do various cancer checks to make sure it hasn't come back. I think the last one is coming up very soon. After 5 years, they declare you cancer-free if there's no sign of anything. So I've had a reason to be having regular checkups. The other thing that struck me is the effect of longer lives is that, of course, there's greater dementia, because that is something you cannot easily control. It seems to be a genetic thing largely, but also environmental COVID, people's shut-ins, I think, increased dementia. You can reduce dementia by being mentally and physically active. That much we do know.
Yeah.
In the southern states, life expectancy is declining. And that's because people are inactive and their diet is terrible. There's a lot of fried food, fried chicken, fried
oil,
everything. So the assumption that life expectancy is going to go up and up and up isn't automatic. It depends on you and whether you remain active and watch your diet, don't drink too much and eat too much, and eat good food rather than bad food.
We are landing the plane here, and I just wanted to sort of pick your brain on a bunch of things. I know that you were, earlier on, many years before I met you, I'm not sure I'd even been born, you were in, do you call it human geography? I mean, as a geography professor. Actually, what's the difference between, this for my audience out there who struggle with this. I used to struggle with this. Well, I don't anymore. But what's the difference between a geographer and a geologist?
Well, it's easy to deal with a geologist. They're hard rock people. In other words, they deal with rocks, soils, materials, alluvium, you name it.
Yeah.
But without people. Though some of the applied geologies begin to look at human modification to the rocks, the soils, the ground, and the rest of it.
Yeah.
Physical geographers overlap a lot with geologists, but they tend to deal with active processes on the rocks.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with rivers and floods, fires, coastal erosion. There are processes going on to the rocks.
Yeah.
Some of which are increasingly aware are human modified, which is why we talk about the Anthropocene, the era in which humans have changed the earth, including its rocks.
Yeah.
So the things that are going on today are, for physical geographers, increasingly human modified. So biogeography, to me, is now the most important part of geography. They're dealing with things like Amazon clearances, the impact on river and runoff, the fires in Alberta, wildfire. These are all human-modified processes, and they're biogeographically related. The biome, the living stuff on the surface of the earth is what's being changed.
And so then, a geologist will be dealing with the rocks. A geographer then deals with everything else that goes on the surface of the earth, including human geographers.
Human modification, particularly as human geographers. And that involves, of course, everything from development to culture to you name it.
You are a human geographer. or
Yeah.
you are,
I
you
call
still
myself
are?
an economic geographer.
Okay. And I know you've traveled the world, and part of your career was spent in Kenya. We had a chat about that, and you probably even had a hand in getting some of the people in my country many years ago, my country of birth many years ago, to come over to Canada to study and go back and continue with the development that was happening over there. But is there any message you probably have for city planners right now?
On the method.
A message?
Message.
Yeah, for city planners, public health leaders, sports scientists, those sort of people, out of your many years of experience and research and sort of.
Well, city planning is not my field, but I would say that cities need humanizing. And there are situations where I think we could usefully think in 50 years' time of, if not car-free cities, city centres that are car-free. And you've got public transport, cycling, other types of mobility machines. And if you want to go in a car at the edge of the city, you pick up a car for the day or the week if you're going on holiday, and then become mobile by machine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see why, with medium densities, cities can be largely car-free. And we're beginning to see some of that in European cities. Toronto seems to be going in the opposite direction at the moment, but maybe that'll change.
Probably.
But we've got such low-density cities.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto is far too spread out.
Yeah.
And if you've got a European-type medium-density city, when we talked about Malaga,
Mm-hmm.
you can get to almost anywhere that matters in Malaga on foot.
Yeah.
Where I was doing the duathlon Pontevedra,
Yeah.
the running part was through the city centre. You couldn't get a car through there if you wanted,
Mm-hmm.
because the streets are too narrow.
Yeah.
So you either walk or ride.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people live there, high densities. Because of that, cities are alive. There's
Mm-hmm.
music, restaurants, clubs,
Yeah.
bars where you can get coffee, bars where you can sit down and have a drink.
Beautiful.
Because you've got the density.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they're not low-density cities that were created in North America.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to plan that. It's a long-term process to create a higher density city in North America.
Yeah.
And runs counter to everything that politically what's the current priority.
Mm-hmm. Glenn, I think you are a very important gentleman in this society, because I think there's a lot of wealth of information, knowledge, and meaning that you add to the biome, if I would put it like that, to speak like a geographer. Would biome be a geographer's term?
Yeah, we talk about biomes, living stuff. It's not just humans, it's
Yeah.
plants, animals, and the
Mhm.
rest of it.
Beautiful. So when folks are seated here with me on the Couch Connect, I treat them like the President of the United States, especially in this aspect. When the US President is leaving the office, they normally leave a question for the next president who's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And since the folks who are seated here with me, all we do is, just bounce off ideas of each other. The guest will always have a question that is left for the next guest on the show. And so the question that was left here by the most recent guest on the show is, and I normally don't see this question until I'm seated right here before you in this moment. So the question is, in what do you find the meaning that sustains you in life?
I guess at the end of every day when I turn into bed, and I'm rather nocturnal, so I don't get up very early, but I go to bed late, and I lie on my pillow going to sleep, I ask myself every day, have I done some little thing that's made this world a better place? That's what I ask myself. And I hope most days to think of something that I can say, okay, that was a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So here's your opportunity to ask the next guest on the show a question.
Do
So
I have to do it right now?
Well, yeah. So just take a moment, and write it over there. So I will try not to see the question until, the next guest is over here with me. Glenn, it's been such a refreshing moment, meeting you again today after a couple of months of not seeing you and, just having a chat with you. It feels very, very refreshing to always sit in your presence and just listen to you speak, because I think that you've gleaned a lot of information over the course of your life, and you also have a very unique way of putting it across. When we are hanging out by the fireplace and we are playing games, there's always these words that you throw out that I didn't even know exist in the English dictionary.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed the conversation. It's been fun to chat.
Yeah, beautiful. Is there anything that you probably just want to tell folks out there as a closing remarks or as a parting shot? You can.
Yeah, keep busy.
True.
That's simple. A simple message. Keep busy.
Keep busy, folks. This has been the Couch Connect. I've been hanging out with Glen Norcliffe. If you want to visit this museum, it's open to the public, right? But through a private arrangement with you.
I don't sit here waiting for people to come through the door.
Yeah.
So you have to go to the website, Huron Bicycle Museum, and send me an email, or you can phone me and make an appointment, and then I'll be here if I'm in town.
Beautiful.
And if I'm not in town, we'll have to find a time that works mutually. And there's no charge. It's just...
Yeah.
It's
and Glenn has written a couple of books as well. He's written a bunch of books, of course, throughout his academic career, but also he recently published a book on every bicycle in the museum. Is it? Yeah.
It's called The Theatre of the Wheel.
The Theatre of the Wheel. Beautiful. And you can get that. Can they buy that on the website as well, if they wanted to? Or
you'd have to email me.
Okay.
I haven't had time to work out how to do. I might put it on Amazon. I don't know. But I'm not sure what that involves. But I've approached a couple of publishers, but they want a lot of money to publish it, and more than I think I can afford for a vanity project.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a vanity project really. There's folks who've been trying. I mean, I'm one of the people who's interested in getting, because I've only bought one of your books. Unfortunately, I think it was from during your time when you were teaching. But like I pointed to you earlier, I'm also looking to get the book on the museum as well. But I'm gonna put a link to the description of everything Glenn has told us to the description to this video, so you can scroll down and see how to reach out to Glenn, or how to see how you can visit the museum. And of course, if folks want to support this museum, they can do it as well, right, Glenn?
Yeah.
Till next time, do take care.
Bye now.
Kwaheri.